Good morning. My name is Victor Kapler, and I am the Dean of the College of Justice and Safety. It is my great honor to welcome you to Eastern Kentucky University's College of Justice and Safety's Fall 26 Convocation Celebration. In this ceremony, we honor degree candidates from the College of Justice and Safety. If you would now please remain standing for the presentation of the national colors by the Richmond, Kentucky Honor Guard and the singing of the national anthem by Jessica and Lauren Mullins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Parents, family, friends, distinguished guests, faculty, and staff, thank you for joining us today to celebrate with our fall graduates this milestone in their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce to you the 13th President of Eastern Kentucky University, Dr. Michael T. Benson.
Good morning. Let's get started by everybody sitting down. Good morning. To the class of 2016, congratulations. You did it. This is a maroon letter day in your life. We celebrate this singular accomplishment together with your family and friends gathered here today. You joined the ranks of proud graduates, over 100,000 living alumni strong, of an institution which has survived decades of challenges and turmoil, but which has emerged even stronger and better. The trials of the present day are no different from what those who have gone before us successfully overcame. I remember hearing a story several years ago of a traveler passing through a dusty and arid portion of Oklahoma during the dark days of the Great Depression. He happened across a lone farm surrounded by nothing. It had a rickety old sign on the front gate which read, "Burn out by drought, washed out by flood, ate out by jackrabbits, sold out by the sheriff, still here." And so are we, still here, since 1874, just like the new sign welcoming visitors to our campus proudly announces at the corner of the bypass in Lancaster Avenue. You are graduates of an institution which traces its roots back 142 years. There is much to be said for being part of a tradition tied to a university with such staying power. The foundation they put into place continues to be built upon by subsequent generations of students, faculty, staff, and our community. To be sure, the class of 2016 enters a world of tremendous uncertainty, filled with strife and conflict and opportunity. One of my favorite poems is entitled Prospice by Robert Browning. A few lines from Browning's remarkable prose speak to what happens to those ready for such challenges and equipped to tackle such opportunities. He wrote, "For sudden, the worst turns the best to the brave. The black minutes that end, and the elements rage. The fiend voices that rave shall dwindle, shall blend, shall change, shall become first a piece out of pain." To the graduates before me today, the worst of times turn the best to the brave. This is your moment. Seize the opportunity and strive to make a difference. Do something of benefit to the world with the education you have worked so hard to obtain. Avail yourself of the boundless opportunities before you, given the skills and the abilities you've acquired and the investments made by you and others in your training. Yes, this is the end of your Eastern Kentucky University education. But as the name of today's ceremony suggests, commencement, it is only the beginning of the big, bold adventure that awaits you as you enter the world as a proud Colonel graduate. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Benson. In today's ceremony, we are recognizing 195 bachelor's degrees, 86 master's degrees, 11 associate's degrees, for a total of 292 degrees. This morning's graduates include many who have achieved academic distinction and excellence. We are proud of all those graduating with honors. I would like to now call to the podium Dr. Peter Kraska to recognize some of our students of distinction and our special guests.
Good morning. It's great to see you all. I want to recognize at this time 7 groups in particular. If you would please hold your applause until all 7 groups have been recognized. Would all those who are graduating this afternoon from our nationally prominent honors programs as honors scholars, please stand and remain standing. Now, would all those graduates who are members of the Phi Kappa Phi, Golden Key National Honor Society, Alpha Phi Sigma, and the Order of the Sword and Shield also stand? Let us honor these 7 groups of outstanding student scholars. Congratulations as well to all the others who are graduating with honors this morning. Throughout their 110-year history, Eastern Kentucky University has been known as a school of opportunity and will always be proud of that distinction. I'm particularly pleased to acknowledge this morning the many first-generation college graduates who are earning a degree today. This means that neither their parents nor anyone in any earlier generation was a college graduate. Will all the candidates for degrees who are the first generation in their families to earn a college degree please stand? Commencement is also the time we recognize the many people who have contributed to the success of these candidates with resources, encouragement, occasional cajoling, love, and understanding. Now I ask the following to stand as you are presented and remain standing so that we may welcome and honor you as a group. Will parents of the candidates for graduation please stand? Will spouses of the candidates please stand? And how about grandparents? Will children and other family members of the candidates please stand? And now, will the outstanding faculty and staff who have instructed and served these candidates please stand? Degree candidates, please join me in showing your appreciation for these very important people in your lives with a generous round of applause. I would like to now call to the podium Dr. Tom Schneid to recognize special guests that are attending today's ceremony.
I would like to recognize some of our special individuals here on the platform. Will each person please stand when presented and remain standing? Mr. Alan Long, Vice President, EKU Board of Regents. Mr. Luis Diaz, Board of Regents. Mr. Brian McKinnon, Board of Regents. Mr. Colin Potter, Board of Regents. Dr. Jana Weiss, Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs and Provost. Mr. Nick Perlin, Vice President of Development and Alumni Relations. Mr. Barry Pointer, Vice President of Finance and Administration. Dr. Jerry Pekoshnik, Dean, EKU Graduate School. Dr. Gary Potter, Associate Dean, College of Justice and Safety. Ken Armstrong, Justice and Safety Alumni Board President. Jeannie Hammond, Justice and Safety Alumni Board Member at Large. Professor Nancy Davis, Chair, Department of Fire Protection and Paramedic Sciences. Dr. Pete Kraska, Chair of Graduate Studies and Research, School of Justice Studies. Dr. Don Roth, Chair of Undergraduate Studies, School of Justice and Safety. Please join with me in greeting these members of our University Administration and Alumni Board and expressing to them our appreciation for their dedicated service. Nancy Davis will now introduce our student speaker.
Good morning. Each semester, a member of the graduating class is selected for the honor of presenting a student commencement address. This morning, that honor belongs to Carl Delente of Haddon Heights, New Jersey, who is graduating with a bachelor degree in fire protection and safety engineering technology, as well as a degree in fire arson and explosive investigation. Sharing in Carl's special day today are his parents, Carl and Lisa Delente. I know they are proud of Carl, as are we. It is my pleasure and privilege now to introduce the student speaker for this morning's convocation, Carl Delente.
Good morning. My name is Carl Delente, and I would like to welcome all of you to the 2016 Fall Commencement Ceremony for the College of Justice and Safety. This college is a program of distinction through the curriculum, the professors, and all of you, the students. We will now continue to represent this university everywhere we travel. The faculty and staff of all facets in this university go out of their way to ensure that all students feel welcomed, but strive to challenge each one of us throughout our years invested here. The path towards a degree is not easy, but education is much more than a piece of paper. Everyone in a gown today has demonstrated independence, group work, motivation, prioritizing, time management, and organizational skills in their time here. We have been given the tools to overcome adversity and the skills to truly never stop learning. As many professors have stated at every open house or spotlight day, it is truly the out-of-the-classroom learning that will be most cherished as we look back on our years spent here. Whether it be a seminar, conference, volunteering, hands-on training, or many of the other routes taken to effectively practice the skills learned here, every student was taught how to learn. This program is not simply focused on getting their graduates jobs, which is important, but this program looks at the larger picture. Graduates have grown to start their foundation in the chosen career, continue to mold themselves into well-rounded individuals, and to be men and women for and with others. Many of us come from different communities, states, or even countries, but have made Eastern Kentucky University our home for the time we have been here. No matter where life takes us from here, the personal friendships and professional networks we have fostered will always tie us together as colonels. This field of justice and safety everyone is entering is vast throughout the world. But when people hear the name Eastern Kentucky University, they know the caliber of the programs and understand the characteristics of their graduates. You are all going to do great things. You will all find a lifelong career, and most importantly, you will all make a difference in this world. The word graduate stems from the Latin word gradus and can be translated as a step climbed on a ladder. This is an illustration of what everyone did these last few years. The ladder started before EKU when you filled out the application to apply to the school. Each challenging paper, project, and final was another rung on the ladder. Hopefully, everyone realizes the top rung is not here today because the ladder is ever growing. Life is a continuous climb, and we must never stop learning with every rung we grasp. All in all, please ensure that you thank your professors, your families, and everyone who helped you through your time here today. I would like to share a quintessential saying that has resonated throughout my college career today. Spoken by Walt Disney, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce the College of Justice and Safety Convocation Speaker, Jenny Harmon. Born in Fort Polk, Louisiana, and raised from the age of 3 in Northern Ohio, Jeannie is the oldest of 3 children to a Korean immigrant mom. After graduating the top of her class in high school, she moved to Richmond, Kentucky, where she obtained her Bachelor's of Science degree in criminal justice in only 3 years, and became the first person in her family to obtain a college degree in 2002. While at EKU, Jenny received many awards, including the Outstanding Senior Award and the Dean's Award in her final year in college. She then proceeded on to be the only member of her family to obtain a doctorate degree upon graduation from the University of Louisville's Brandeis School of Law in 2005. After practicing a couple of years in the private sector in Louisville, Jenny returned to Richmond, where she began to be getting involved in the community that she now calls home. We can find her serving on numerous boards in order to give back to the community, including but not limited to chair of the largest social event in Madison County, Pops in the Park, and is also the vice president of our very own Alumni Society Board of Directors in the College of Justice and Safety. She has been recognized for the past several years as the Law Day Award winner for both Madison County and the Estill County Bar Associations in her effort to educate the youth of both counties of the importance and effect of our legal system. Currently, Jenny maintains a private civil practice focusing on business and commercial litigation and is the chief assistant prosecutor, where she handles cases ranging from juvenile offenses to theft, drug, violent-related charges for adults. Jenny is licensed to practice law in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern and Western Districts of Kentucky, and also the bar associations in Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana, and most recently was sworn in to practice before the U.S. Supreme Court. Jenny has been sitting on this platform for the past few years as a representative of our Alumni Society Board, but now comes to us today as your keynote speaker. Please welcome Ms. Jenny Hammond.
So I suppose I should pay somebody for that intro. It may actually be better than the speech I have for you prepared today. I'd first, of course, like to thank President Benson, Dean Kepler, the college and the faculty and staff for the College of Justice and Safety, and of course the students here today for allowing me to be part of your commencement ceremony. But most importantly, as with Dr. Kraska, I believe the people that need to be recognized are all of you all sitting up and around us, the family and friends of the students who have supported them in their path to be here today. When preparing for today, I realized I'm completely outside of my comfort zone. We had sound checks yesterday, and the sound guy told me I didn't speak loud enough, which has never been a problem in my life. So that was the first adjustment we had to make. Second, as with the introduction that they provided, I'm normally standing in front of a courtroom of a couple hundred people, most of which are getting not so good news. If you're on the good side, you may get a fine, maybe probation, and it's not been uncommon for me to tell people that I hope you packed a toothbrush because you're going to jail today. So it is a little different for me to present something in a positive manner. So I'm here today to tell you all congratulations. We're all very proud of you, and you've made it. You've earned your college degree from what I think and believe is to be the best college in the United States, with the program of distinction for the College of Justice and Safety. When they came to me and asked me to be your keynote speaker, I kind of laughed because I'm used to Pauline asking me to do stuff for the college, being on this Alumni Society board, and I'm more than happy to dedicate my time, but I thought she messed up. I've sat on this platform and I've watched many impressive speakers present to the classes before you and thought, it can't possibly be that they want me to speak to this class. But then I realized that the benefit of the way we hold our graduations now, where it's the students that I'm familiar with, the students that I can relate to, this actually makes it a great environment for you all, but also for me. I can also tell you I've been in Kentucky too long because I'm saying you all instead of you guys, which is what you say when you're from Northern Ohio. But what really dawned on me was I'm definitely getting old because when I came to Eastern, you were in kindergarten. So I don't realize I can't walk on campus anymore and fit in as a student. I may actually fit in with some of the faculty and staff a little bit better these days. But the benefit that you all have had at this college are the faculty and staff sitting in the front rows in front of you, or the faculty in this case. These intellectual giants have played their part in your life, and they have set you up in the most positive manner that you could imagine. They have guided you, they have molded you, they have instructed you for all you need to go out into the real world and achieve the goals that you have in mind. Some of them were my professors. I had Dr. Kraska, I had Dr. Fields, I had Dr. Kepler, and I will never forget what they did for me when I was in your shoes. But I realize that graduation is the high point of college, or one of the high points, and the commencement speaker is the low point of graduation. So my goal today is to provide you with maybe one bit of information that'll help you in life, and also not to bore you at your graduation day. To start off with, I just want to tell you that what you're about to go into is the real world. So this is really just the starting block for you. It's your time to pause and celebrate your graduation, celebrate your accomplishments, and thank those around you. But now you're an adult. I can give you the puppies and sunshine and rainbow speech that I gave my high school alma mater 5 years ago when they asked me to be their keynote speaker, but you've had that. So now I'm going to treat you like I treat the people in the courtroom, and I'm going to be honest with you. What those professors have given you entitles you to absolutely nothing in the real world but an opportunity. And they have given you the skills and the talents you need to make the most of those opportunities, and now it's up to you. I'd like to tell you that you're all going to make 6 figures. I'd like to tell you that you're all going to get every job you ever have an interview for, but the reality is you're not going to. I'm really a big sports fan, and although I'm going to mention a university that we probably shouldn't speak of, if any of you have seen the Louisville women's basketball coach Jeff Waltz's recent rant that he had on ESPN when their team lost a game, although maybe not done in the best way to relay his message, the message was very good and accurate, and I recommend you guys Google that because I know most of you are probably already on your phones as it is. So he goes on to complain about how the generation today doesn't have the will to win, that society has ruined us because we've taught everybody that everyone gets a participation trophy, that if you get 5th place, you still should get acknowledged for doing a good job. And that is not nice to hurt people's feelings, so we want to recognize everyone for the work they've put into it. Well, along with him, I don't know how it works for the rest of you all, but for me, if I don't win, if I don't do a good job, if I keep making mistakes, I don't keep my job. I have to perform, and I have to show that not only am I entitled to a position because I've worked for it, but I'm entitled to maintain that position because I've earned it. And that's what I want you all to remember when you leave here today, that each of you are unique, that you're great, and you're special, and you're talented, and all those positive things are true. But it doesn't entitle you to anything unless you go out and you work for it. It's okay to want the best. It's okay to go after the best. But nothing's worth earned if it wasn't worked for with sweat and struggle. So that was the big speech that I thought I'd start with when preparing, because I'm an overachiever and I work really hard and I wanted every sentence to be impactful and you guys just go with it. And then a very good friend of mine said, be real. That's not you, that's not how you work. So I wrote this nice speech and then scrapped it yesterday because I thought, no, he's right, that's not how I operate. As my intro said, my mother's Korean. She, of course, met my father in the military and came over, and I just found out I was born the same place Dean Kepler was, in Fort Polk, Louisiana. But for those of you who don't have Korean mothers or any Korean relatives, let me tell you, it's a different environment. Without much of an education, she couldn't teach me or my younger sister and brother much, except math, not to perpetuate stereotype. So I am good at that. But she told us at a very young age that you had to compete to be the best, because someone will always be better, someone will always be smarter, they will run faster than you, they will jump higher than you. It may not be the person standing next to you, but you are somewhere in this world, someone is better than you. So the most you can do is be the best of you. Be the best version of yourself, work harder than everybody else, and let someone else recognize you to be the best. And to this day, my mother's words still stick with me, because that's a little bit of the feeling that I had when asked to be your commencement speaker, that I'm not the best, that I'm not deserving. Listen, you all would rather have George Clooney, LeBron James, Princess Kate for the guys to look at up here in a much better version than me. But somebody thought that maybe I would at least be able to reach you all. And for that, I am very humble, because I'm not the most deserving, but very appreciative because somebody thought I was. And that's what you all need to remember when you go out into the real world and when you go into the fields in which you have chosen your degrees. Some of you may never enter the field in which you're graduating, which is perfectly fine. But for most of us who have chosen the College of Justice and Safety, we didn't do it because it's a job. We didn't do it even because it's a career. We did it because we have this feeling. We knew what we wanted to do, and we wanted to go out and be great people. Unfortunately, these great people who graduate in these degrees and go out and practice in these fields don't make six figures most of the time. We work for other people. We are service-oriented, and we are here to help the community. So that's really what I bring to you today. Because the problem with being somebody who works in a service-oriented career means you're not going to get much recognition. People aren't going to love you. In a courtroom full of 300 people, I'm the most hated person standing in that room. And I know that. It's difficult when you go through those days. You're going to have great days. You're going to save people. You're going to impact their lives in positive manners, because I know that you came from this college and that's how they taught you to be. But there are going to be days where a police officer is going to pull somebody over for a speeding ticket, and you would think that was the end of somebody's world the way they talk to you. You've inconvenienced them, and they are not grateful. And for those of you who are going on to be police officers, they will be less grateful when you cut them a deal and knock down their speeding ticket. The people you help the most will give you the most problems. The people will blame you. Very few people are going to tell you thank you. Those that do are going to make you remember why we do what we do. We have a passion. We have an urge to want to make this world a better place. And each of you are going to have an impact on this world that you will not see on a daily basis, but others around you will. We are all connected. We all work together. And of course, I'm a little biased being in the criminal justice system because I do get to work with law enforcement and other attorneys. But we matter. The downside to our jobs, however, are bigger downsides than the College of Business Administration is going to have. They're bigger downsides than somebody with a math degree. No offense to any of those people. They're great things. But our bad days are bad. We are going to deal with the worst sides of people. We are going to deal with death of our friends who just did their job. There are going to be weeks that you wonder, I work really hard for a bunch of people who do not appreciate anything I do. And then you have to remember the people sitting in the front rows in front of you as students today, because those people cared. Those people mattered. The people sitting in the audience around you, those people know the sacrifices you make. For most of us that are going out there, for most of you that are going out there and are safety responders, first responders, your primary goal in life is going to be going home at the end of shift. That should be your number one goal in everything you do. But you are taking a risk every day you step out there to do that, to help somebody else that you probably don't know. And that's what we all do. So when you go out there, whether you're working in corrections, in juvenile studies, as a police officer, as a firefighter, as a state trooper, God help them all, you are appreciated even if you don't see it. You are doing this because you care. And don't lose sight of that in everything you're going to run into. Remember those that you love and remember those that love you, because those are the ones that matter and those are the ones that care. I'm a bit of a sports fan, but I'm also a nerd. So one of my favorite 20th century philosophers, Abraham Joseph Heschel, says, "To be or not to be is not the question. The vital question is how to be and how not to be." And that's what you all have to remember, that most people aren't bad, but people make mistakes. People do bad things, and how you treat them can make a difference. I believe that I wear the white hat, that it's my job to protect the community, that it's my job to make sure a victim doesn't get hurt. But with great power comes great responsibility, which did not originate with the Spider-Man comic book. That actually originated with Voltaire. And in the positions that you all will hold, there will be great power. So remember, with that comes a responsibility to your community, to those around you, not just on your shift, not just when you work, but to give back after that, to get involved, and to show those people that although you had a job to do from 8 to 5 or 6 to 2, that you still care about what's going on in your community. The last thing I want to leave you with is just a little note about yourselves. Like I said before, you guys are special, you are great, and you are unique. So surround yourself by people who know that. Surround yourself by those people who recognize that. And surround yourself by people who are the same. I was really stressed out about speaking to you all today, and one of my very best friends told me, a person is the sum average of the 5 people you surround yourself by. So show me how great you are by showing me who your friends are. And I take that to heart because he's one of my 5 people, and he is amazing. And so I appreciate that he's willing to support me, just like your friends are willing to support you. And you should always be thankful for that. So although you're not entitled to anything but a congratulations today, I know you all will earn your way through the real world, and you will do great things, much greater than I am. And you should be very proud for all you accomplish. So congratulations, good luck, and thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. President Michael T. Benson will now proceed with the formal conferring of degrees of our graduates.
President Benson, Dean Jerry Pogachnik will present candidates for graduate degrees.
Will the candidates for master's degrees please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, Dean Kapler will present candidates for undergraduate degrees.
Will the candidates for bachelor's degrees and associate's degrees Please stand and remain standing. President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for your conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, with the recommendation of the faculty, the deans and I present these candidates to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Candidates, the long-anticipated hour has come. You are here with family and loved ones looking on. The faculty and officers of the university are gathered in witness and testimony to your conduct and purpose. Therefore, by virtue of the authority granted me by the Board of Regents of Eastern Kentucky University, and with the faculty's recommendation, it is now my pleasure to confer upon each of you the appropriate degree, and do hereby vest each of you with the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Once verified by final grades, your diploma will be confirmed and acknowledged by the Great Seal of Eastern Kentucky University. Congratulations. Please be seated.
Will the honorary faculty advisors please escort the degree candidates to the stage? John Strada will now read the names of the graduates. This is both a solemn and joyous occasion. As names are called, I ask each of you to show the decorum and the dignity of the occasion. In this way, each graduate can receive the recognition he or she so richly deserves. Thank you.
College of Justice and Safety, School of Justice Studies, Master of Science, Caleb Hodgson. Tracy Nicole Kindred. Deidre Caldwell. John Ivey. Joseph Warren. Logan Tucker. Tyler Boxrucker. Rovan Regala. Katie Napier. Bachelor of Science, Trevor Myers. Jakina Allen. Joshua Bassoni. Isabella Honorado. Jessica Razor. Madison Reed. Nicholas Bird. Trenton Welsh. Trevor Denny. Mashari Al-Nazi. Mahala Lewis. Police Studies and Criminal Justice, Crystal Bruner. Eduardo Conway. Deontay Dorsey Norton. Brandon Fry. Amanda Blanton. Sarah Ann Barton. Michael Strickland. Timothy Van Zant Bailey. Lee Miracle. Taryn Howell. Levi Tyring. Amanda Blecka. Elizabeth Robards. Jonathan Floyd. Landon Rasnick. Kyle O'Brien. Jacob Harden. Karen Pacheco. Keelandre Quarles. Dylan Harden. John Keith. John Johnson. Eliza Sizemore. Paige Butler. Dana Taylor. Carrie Olson. Joseph Filippi. James Woodis. Zachary West. Jonathan Fox. Rebecca Harmon. Casey Horton. Kelsey Embry. Lonnie Collins. Melinda Holtzclaw. Wesley Wilson. Kendra Lockhart. Jonathan Harmon. Jonathan Gunau. Nawaf Al-Bigami. Terrence Langford. Daniel Hall. Saad Al-Dahari. Abdullah Akabi. Hamad Al-Katabi. Suhail Al-Amri. Khalid Al-Ashari. Chelsea Hernandez. Aaron Hereford. Dana Gabbard. Letitia Brown. Kenneth Randolph. Brittany Hilliard. School of Safety, Security, and Emergency Management, Master of Science, Samantha Bellows. Adam Visnick. Tom Baskin. Musetta Span. Justin Smith. Lloyd Allen Macy II. Jeffrey Frederick. William Tingle. Audra Cronin. Shelby Schneid. Valerie Nally. Catherine Chapman. Stephen Brunson. Ray Fletcher. Anne Marie Foll. Matthew Gregory. Brandon Wesley. Jonathan Cathers. Shannon McQueen. Robert Allen. Ahmed Al-Harthi. Bachelor of Science, Salal Al-Shamari. Brianna Burrows. Lee Gaddis. Alyssa Hodgson. Floyd Miracle. Erwin Caraballo. Leonard Slaughter. Timothy Thorne. Joshua Likens. Cody Hill. Lisa Webb. James Ford. Mufle Al-Sharani. David Wallace. Gary Bideman. Roy East. Alexander Hoffman. Salan Thamar Al-Shalan. Abdulatif Mashari Bulbashar. Mana Al-Shanef. Hazim Al-Qadi. Muhammad Al-Akwan. Ahmed Al-Shaban. Mohammed Shoaib. Mohammed Al-Hamad. Arlene Roman. Anthony Warner. Joseph Matthews. Chad Cunningham. Benjamin Osborne. Tyler Klein. Matthew Spare. Christopher Murner. Keith Grau. Daniel Kelly. Eric Jones. Jesse Hicks. Caitlin North. Perry Brian Burris. Corey Harper. Brad Holland. Carrie Morrow. James Greenwell. Jason Frank. Benjamin Bonfort. Dolores Pepper. Carl Dolente. That's it. All right.
Am I next up? Graduates of the class of 2016, the moment for which you have worked so long and so hard is now at hand. If you have not already done so, please now move the tassels from the right to the left. Congratulations.
Alumni are so very important in the life of a university and a college. We are very fortunate in the College of Justice and Safety to have the loyal support of many alumni. Among those is Ken Armstrong, who is president of our Eastern Kentucky University's College of Justice and Safety Alumni Board. Ken is a two-time graduate of the College of Justice and Safety with a Bachelor's of Police Science and a Master's of Science degree in Criminal Justice. He's a 24-year veteran of the Lexington Police Department, a certified instructor with the Kentucky Law Enforcement Council, and has been involved in training over 1,200 public safety officials on topics ranging from criminal street gangs, community policing, and leadership development. So please welcome Ken Armstrong as he will address the new graduates.
Thank you, Dr. Potter, for that introduction. I would also like to take a moment and thank President Benson, the Board of Regents, Dr. Weiss, our outstanding faculty, and Dean Kapler for allowing me to speak here today. Now for my remarks, which I promise I will keep very brief. If I'm not mistaken, this is either the 5th or 6th time I have had the honor to stand on this stage and welcome a new group of alumnus to the College of Justice and Safety's Alumni Society. In the past, I've tried to express how significant it is to be a member of this college, an alumni of this college. The burden and responsibility each of our members have to society and the communities we serve. I've talked about how important that service is and the service you'll be providing your communities when you return to them, and how this college is the most important and distinguished college, not just in the university, not just in the state, but possibly the United States. I've also talked about the leadership you'll be providing, how you can affect positive change, and in some cases, save lives. But today, I want to talk to you about something else. Some of you in the stands may have noticed, as the diplomas were handed out, that Ms. Hammond and I stood on the side and shook everyone's hand. of everyone in the graduating class today. What you may not have noticed is that we gave each of them a very small token. We presented them with a small coin, which is commonly referred to and stamped as a challenge coin. It's very common in the United States military and in business to hand these out. What does it represent? It represents an accomplishment of great task or action taken, or that you've accepted a great challenge and accomplished it, or you're taking on a great accomplishment. Hence its name. Ironically, over the past few years, there have been a number of challenges we've all heard about, whether it's on TV or on social media. The planking challenge, the 7-second challenge, the mannequin challenge, the ice bucket challenge. At least that one was worthy of a good cause. But we have had numerous other challenges throughout the year that you've heard about that were the fad of the day and gone tomorrow. Even if you don't want to admit to it, I'm sure a number of you took part in those challenges, if not all of them in some way. So while I was writing this speech, I thought maybe it was time for me to start a challenge. I'm calling it the Colonel Challenge. And while this challenge may be difficult at times, I promise you the reward will be worth the effort you put into it if you accept it. Frankly, not everyone can do it. And I wouldn't present this to any other college in the university. But over the years, I've had the opportunity to meet a number of you, and based on those interactions, I know if you're sitting in those seats, you can do this challenge. The Colonel Challenge has 4 not-so-simple requirements. Number 1, use your hard-earned education from one of the most distinguished colleges in the United States to make the world a better place for everyone. Number 2, be motivated, work hard, be a leader, and remember that doing your minimum will only provide you with a minimum life experience. So do your best in everything you do. Number 3, do what's right. And to paraphrase Mark Twain, this nation was found on one principle above all else, the requirement that we stand up for what we believe in, no matter the odds or the consequences, and you should plant yourself by the river of truth. Lastly, number 4, support your university. We face hard times today and most certainly will in the future. Support the university by promoting it, sharing your positive experiences with others, and don't wait to return. Give your time and talents to the university at every opportunity that you can. You will always be an EKU graduate. We will always be here for you, so be here for your university as well. Those are the 4 requirements. This challenge will be difficult at times, but I assure you, this is a challenge worthy of your best efforts and one commitment you'll never regret. So, as you leave here today and look to the future, make sure the Eastern Challenge, your alumni society, and your university is a big part of that future. In closing, I would like to again congratulate you all and simply say, I hope to see you again. Good luck, God bless, and go EKU.
Thank you, Ken. Graduates, I certainly extend to each of you my congratulations, along with my esteemed colleagues. Your departure from the university with our best wishes and our most sincere regards. You leave the College of Justice and Safety a better place because of your service and your achievements. Graduates and guests, please be sure to join us in the Stratton Building cafeteria for a reception in your honor to celebrate this special occasion. Please now stand for the recessional. As the recessional begins, please remain standing until the party has left the arena floor. Now for one last time, if you would, please stand. Now for one last time, if you would, let's give a hearty round of applause to Eastern Kentucky University's College of Justice and Safety's newest graduates.